All right. So thank you guys for coming. And uh, today's Mental Health Monday is how to have a self-care day. Now, of course, we know that like all self-care tips aren't going to work universally for everyone, but we thought it would be good to at least try to highlight some of the maybe more unconventional ways that you can take care of yourself and your space and the space around you. My name is Lucian. I've been a peer mentor for about 2 years now. And if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Prithvi. I'm a peer educator.
Awesome. So we are hosting this today. And again, thank you for coming. And then with that, let's just get right into it. So the first slide that we want to kind of go over here is just generally highlighting why self-care is important. Like when you hear that, like in the mainstream, you kind of get the idea that like it's this luxurious thing, but we can practice self-care in a number of ways. And it's important because it helps us recover just generally from the stress of like everyday life. It's good for our mental well-being and our physical well-being. You get to take a break from your work, from school, from your responsibilities. You can connect with yourself, try new hobbies, and get that very important physical and emotional rest that we all need. So if you want to go ahead and take the next slide.
Yep. So there are different types of self-cares which we aren't aware of or which we don't differentiate generally. Let's go one by one quickly. So one is emotional. That includes stress management, coping skills, compassion therapy, and journaling. Then physical self-care that we could consider sleeping, stretching, walking, exercise, and nutrition. Then when it comes to spiritual, it's giving your time alone or setting your time alone for yourself, and then meditation, prayer, or some space, personal space for yourself. And then when it comes to social, that includes setting boundaries or creating a positive support system, or maybe having a positive and optimistic social media and the handle, and then being around with good friends. And then when it comes to financial, maybe that includes budgeting, money management skills, or paying bills, and then setting financial boundaries. And then when it comes to work, with that includes time management, and then creating work boundaries, and then taking offs now and then. And then yeah, then creating personal space that includes healthy environment or stability and clean space. Then the next slide.
Yes. So there's not like one way to take care of yourself, basically. Like you see like, oh, the bath bombs, the face masks, it's like, oh, treat yourself. But yes, there are many different ways that you can take care of yourself. There are different times and places that you can use to your advantage to take care of yourself, your body, your time, and your mind. So we'll run through some times and some places and some ways in those times and places that you can take care of yourself. So if you want to jump for self-care in the morning.
Yep, self-care in the morning. So that includes stretching, like legs, stretching, rolling shoulders or back after you wake up. That will help you set the day. And then cooking breakfast, having healthy food is very important for staying physically and mentally well. So cooking yourself a meal at least once a week can not only boost your confidence, but also it'll always help you start the day with a bang. Then making a to-do list. So this is one of my personal favorites, because writing out what you plan for the day will not only help you track things, but also help you boost your confidence. And then when you cross your tasks off the list, then it'll always help you uh, take the time to relax. Then putting a different outfit. Usually, if you're not planning to go out on the day, we are always inclined to keep on your sleeping clothes. But then simply putting on a different outfit for the day will always make you feel refreshed and clean. And then next slide.
Yeah, just briefly, real quick. I know you said to-do list is one of your favorites, but the outfit one is one of my favorites because
Yeah.
especially like if you're still a student that works primarily from home, you don't really have a reason to go out. So like you kind of just have the instinct where like I'm just gonna do work in my pajamas. But yeah, being able to actually change into a different outfit can kind of like wake you up a little more, so that one I find is really important as well. But for self-care in the afternoon, it's really important to eat a snack. Especially if you get in the groove of work, it may be hard to want to take a long break and eat a lot of food. But if you can manage a snack, that's still nutrients for your body, and your body deserves that nutrients. Something that we might not see as self-care, may actually see as a little scary, is making very important phone calls. So if you need that doctor's appointment, you need to talk to financial aid about something, you have to talk to your boss about your schedule, try and set aside a time where you can actually do those things, because taking care of those responsibilities is a form of caring for yourself, because you're putting yourself and your needs first instead of putting them off just because making a phone call can be difficult. And it can, but it's still important to make those phone calls. Another one is balancing your work and your play. We may be inclined to just continue doing our work consistently until it's done and then we can play after, but there's nothing wrong with taking a break every now and then in between your work, especially if you work from home, which is important so you don't push yourself to burnout. So taking those periodic breaks is very healthy. And another thing that we suggest is to clean something. So keeping your physical space clean is a really important form of self-care, especially if it's in your workspace or the place in which you sleep. So if you can, try to clean something, even if you're just wiping a counter or picking up some trash or making your bed, something very small can still kind of give you that boost of like self-esteem, like you took care of something, and in doing that, you're taking care of yourself. So I think those are all really important.
Then taking self-care in the evening. So drink some water. Usually we forget to drink some water. That is one of the smallest things we often is often underrated, and then we often don't give more importance to, but it's very important to like drink some water and then give yourself some break. So it'll help you feel much more better than you are, and then it can also give you some energy boost for the rest of the night. Then taking a shower. We can do this any time of the day we want, but then taking a shower at night can wind you down for the day. And also, especially when you need something to mark the time between working and relaxing, then don't do work in bed. This is one of the hardest things to follow, I know, but then, it's very important to separate your laptop time and then your bedtime or your work time, because we often are laid back and then we usually jump into the bed and then like start doing our work. But then it's very important to differentiate the resting space and the working space. So it'll actually help your brain to separate things and then help you do your work better. And then when it's time to sleep. So it'll not get jumbled up when you're trying to go to bed.
Yeah, definitely. I think this one is something we all need to kind of grapple with sometimes.
Totally, yes.
So we did it a couple times during the day. Did you have like any questions or maybe suggestions about different ways you can take care of yourself during the day? If you didn't, that's totally fine because we have some more stuff to cover anyway.
Yep.
So we do also have a couple places where you can practice self-care, and one of those is in school. So a big thing you do to take care of yourself in school is asking questions. And I know a lot of us may refrain from asking questions because we're afraid that like, oh, it's a stupid question, it's going to make us look stupid. But asking questions and getting clarifications on the things you need helps you learn. And of course, in the long run, you're paying for the class that you're confused in. So you deserve to have those questions answered. Um, Another thing is to bring music to class. So between classes, it can get overstimulating because there's so many people and sounds, especially if you're on campus all day. So if you just kind of need a break, you can bring some music to listen to so you can focus on yourself in those always crowded college spaces. And I know this next thing is something that probably all of us have some trouble with, but starting your work early, it may be really hard to stick to. But again, if we harken back to taking periodic breaks instead of doing all of our work at once, getting bits of work done at a time instead of doing it all at once prevents that burnout, improves your sleep and memory because you're going to bed at a normal time instead of staying up late to finish it. And it helps you relax amongst all of your work. And it may not seem like it, but all of this is a form of self-care because you're doing things to benefit yourself, your learning, your education, and your health. So let's move to the next one.
Yep. Self-care at work. Usually taking your breaks. So we all deserve a periodic rest. So sometimes we may feel pressurized to skip our breaks because sometimes when we are busy or when we don't really feel like, but then we should always remember that we aren't on the brink of exhaustion. We still need a periodic rest. Then keeping your day off. So it's your day, you own that day, and then you've earned that time. So keeping your days off is one of the important things. So even if someone wants you to work on that particular day, there is no harm in saying no. It's absolutely okay to say no. You might feel that pressure initially, but then your health comes first before your work. So even if you don't want to go in your day off, stay home. That's totally okay. Then setting self reminders. Just remind yourself that you're doing enough. It's totally okay. It's okay to be okay. You know yourself best. So even if you're trying as best as you can, even if your best looks different on different days, that's all that matters.
Yes, definitely. I know that one is hard, especially if you find yourself getting tired easily on different days.
Yep.
So, um, that is all we had. I do apologize if it went a little quick. But just, as a parting thing, can you think of any ways to practice self-care for yourself? Again, we said like these are kind of generalized. We don't want to assume anything about anybody. So like based on your situation, you're going to be able to do different things and do different ways to take care of yourself. So did you kind of want to share anything that you do to take care of yourself that you might take with you as you move through school? And it's okay if you can't think of any right now. Kind of
Yep.
putting people on the spot, but
Yeah, sometimes, some self-care types won't work for someone, but there is absolutely no harm in, trying and exploring different things. Like, we often like degrade mostly having a laugh. We don't even consider or have gratitude about it, but that's also one of the, important things. Then setting time aside and treating yourself. That's reading a book and then just like staying home. That's totally okay.
yeah, for sure. And some people might go to the internet as their form of self-care and some people might step away as their form of self-care. So like it's different for everybody. So let me actually stop presenting here.